Hi, Catherine here from Circle Art Designs. Today we will be working on the third project from the Bargain Bead Box for November. This is a pearl and green quartz necklace, and I think it's beautiful. From the Bargain Bead Box, we will be using the 8mm green quartz round beads. These are permanently dyed green. And we will also be using the 39 by 25mm quartz and 18 karat gold plated copper wrapped donut. Added to this some glass pearl and 6mm oval and various spacers in gold, be them donut spacers or your round gold ball spacers. We'll also need wire of your choice and 2 wire guards. This is the pattern I intend to use. It's a 2:1 ratio pattern. I also intend to use the pendant on its side. We'll start by preparing our beading wire with a wire guard and a crimp. Your crimp goes on first, followed by your wire guard. While I am wrestling with this crimp, if you would take a moment and like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. The first wire guard on either side is always the easiest. Once you have your crimp on, move your thread through one side of the wire guard around the U and back through the other side. Now put your wire through your crimp, making sure you don't cross the wires. And it should look something like that. Sorry about the frog in my throat. We're having a bit of something blow through here today that is giving me a little trouble. Now take your crimper tool and place your crimp in the back of the crimper tool in the M-shaped side and the half circle side of the back and mash it down. If you've done it correctly, when you turn it over and look, it should have an M shape with a wire coming out of each side. Now you move it to the front and crimp again or mash it down again, and it should make a little ball. Tug on it and make sure it's secure and you're ready to go. You can cut the wire, the second wire, the short one, if you would like. As you can see, I have put a crimp cover on my crimp. It's really too big. I did not show it going on. I've really put it on there as a place marker to cover the crimp. So for stringing this first section, I will use a donut, a glass pearl, another donut, and then my 2 dark green quartz round beads, ending with another gold donut spacer for this section. So this is the pattern I will continue to repeat until I get one side of the beaded section of the necklace finished. Isn't that lovely? I was kind of worried whenever I first pulled out these dark green quartz beads, but with the introduction of the oval white pearls with them, I really think it tones down the color quite a bit, and it makes it a deeper, richer, more elegant look to the piece. What do you think? I was gifted these glass oval pearls, and they have such a lovely weight to them. I really am liking them with these green beads. I don't know if I'll ever find them again. I don't know how old they were, but they were still in the original package. And I'm sure if you're making this for yourself, you could find something similar at one of your bead shops. Well, I seem to be picking up speed. That's always a good thing for me. I really love stringy beads. Well, to be honest, I just love making jewelry. But stringing beads is kind of a mindless type of thing. All of the work is done when you're designing and gathering your things up, and then putting all the components together at the end to make a finished piece of jewelry. But I find that the actual stringing of the beads is a very calming, peaceful thing to participate in. Don't you? Okay, and checking out the pattern, I see that I have broke pattern at the very end and put 3 on of the green beads. I'll have to fix that. My daughter tells me I have a very old world style to the pieces I make. Maybe so. I just love the beauty in the pieces that were made about 100 years ago, or maybe the roaring 20s. I think I have enough of my pattern to make the 6 inches that I want on each side. So I'm moving the camera down so that I can measure it against the measuring tape I have taped to the bottom of my glass tile. It looks like I'm about 1 inch short. So we'll put a few more beads on and then go to the next step. By the way, I got really tired of pulling out my measuring tape or a ruler every time I wanted to measure something. So I went up to the dollar store and got a really cheap measuring tape. I used 2 glass tiles. One is a give thanks tile with leaves on it, and it's large like a cutting board. And the other is a large glass tile that I got from Home Depot that you would put on the wall. And on the one that's a give thanks, I took the measuring tape and measured the full length of that tile or that cutting board, taped it down, and cut it to match the length. And that way it's with me all the time. I just put the other one on top, meaning the other tile. And then when I'm using my bead mat, I put the bead mat on the white tile that's sitting on the give thanks tile. At this point, I have decided to make each side of the necklace 7 inches instead of the 6 I originally was thinking about going with. This will give me a total of 14 inches. Now, what I did not take into consideration is that I have a pendant going in the middle. So this necklace is actually going to end up being longer than I had originally intended. But more on that later. I don't know if you can see it, but I have 3 little crimps beside these beads and one of the wire guards. It's time for us to put a crimp on and then the wire guard, and do it exactly the same way that we did the beginning. The trick here is to run the wire through a couple of the beads if you can, and then pull it down tight before you crimp. Now I say tight, remember I'm going to put on a crimp cover, so I have to leave a little room for that too large crimp cover to go on. Okay, we are ready to start the next side. The first side I have finished up and it is laying on the mat. We will need to put on the crimp and the wire guard for the next side, and a crimp cover if you're using one. Boy, can I tell I'm getting tired. And I'm trying to be fast. Sorry that sometimes the words slur together. I usually try to put these together in the morning, because in the morning I am my freshest. And in the evening, especially the later it gets, the crazier I get with my words. I chalk it up to old age. Okay, I am going to move on ahead because we will do the second side exactly the way we did the first side. And I don't want this to be too long. I wanted to show you this on the second side because I don't think I did on the first. When I go to do the final wire guard, I take my needle nose pliers and slip them inside the wire guard so that I have a tension that I can pull against when I'm pulling the wire taut. And now we will be adding our 39 by 25 millimeter quartz and 18 karat gold plated copper wrap donut. I am joining the donut to the beaded section using oval jump rings. Make sure when you're using a jump ring that holding it with 2 pliers, you twist your wrist only on one end and open the jump ring. Never pull it apart. And now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. This will allow us to join both sides of the beaded sections in the middle with the donut, making a complete chain. Do you remember what I said in the beginning when I was measuring these beaded sections that I decided to go ahead with 7 instead of 6? And that I had forgot to take into consideration the donut in the middle that would hold them together? Well, here's where I got into trouble. I'm going to finish this on out because I have cut my chain and it will only have to be added at the back with a clasp, whatever clasp you want to use at the back. But when I put this on, it was way too long. and I ended up having to take it apart and shorten the chain. The good news in all of this is that when I shortened it, I found a slightly heavier chain to use on it, and I ended up putting the clasp on one side and then the chain on the other so that it could be worn as a choker or as a slightly longer piece. It ended up being pretty good, a pretty good faux pas. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey today. Look in your own stash, see what you have that you can make this wonderful beaded necklace with pendant. Happy beading, y'all. Catherine, Circle Art Designs.